filming. Okay. Well, as you can see, I have a guest on the couch today, and because everyone who's new on the show has to have a show name, I would like to introduce, for the first time anywhere, well, at least for one other place, Captain Jack Darkness to the show as our special guest host. And as you can probably tell, well, because I said so in earlier postings, this is going to be a Doctor Who themed episode, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And of course, you see, we've got all the co-hosts on the show right now. We've got Emergency Food Supply, and it checks the perimeter. So it's like we're filming as a family. Yay! Okay.
And we scared the cat away.
Yeah, it's true. Which was the plan? Because we have serious business to discuss.
Indeed.
And I'm seeing the shirt here. You gotta show the shirt, the Captain Jack, the Harkness shirt. Now I gotta say,
Show this
yeah, there you go.
You guys can see that well right now.
Seducing you to do good things is Mr. Jack. So, now I gotta say, I've seen a little bit of my history watching Doctor Who. Is when I watched it as a kid, and my first Doctor that I saw. Mm-hmm. My first Doctor. Show me on the doll where was Tom Baker, okay, which I believe was the fourth Doctor. And I really liked him. I thought he was cool. And I watched some, and of course they did replays of earlier episodes, so I saw other Doctors like, hey, that's not the guy I'm used to. Why does he think, so I kind of got an education on what the Doctor actually was.
Right.
But when I got back into the Doctor Who, I've got Netflix, so I've had that for quite a while. But my sister is huge into Doctor Who, apparently, and she was talking to me a spin-off called Torchwood.
Right.
So I watched that after only having seen the old Doctor Who. So I come in, and I'm like, what is this? Because it was kind of ballsy in your face stuff. So, folks, if you're going to watch Torchwood, definitely it's something for the adult children, or specifically adults, because there's lots of adult themes going on. But barring that, what a show!
Absolutely.
Writing, characters, story. Like I say on this show several times, if you give me those three things, I will watch your show. I will watch the shit out of your show. So that was my intro back into the world of the new Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So after watching all that, I watched everything up to Miracle Day because they didn't have it on Netflix.
Right.
And then I'm like, I saw that they had all the new stuff with Doctor Who. So I watched everything, including some of the movies, the David Tennant movies.
Yeah. And
then I downloaded Miracle Day and watched that. So that's the last thing I've seen. So that's my experience with Doctor Who. So what's your Doctor Who history?
My first Doctor, actually, I remember being a little kid and seeing, it was one of the Tom Baker episodes, and I had no idea what was going on. I just knew it was very creepy and weird, and there was like this, something pulsating and glowing, and it tripped me out, so I didn't really get into it. I guess I wasn't really ready for it.
Mm-hmm. And pulsating and glowing is, two things that don't, mix.
Yeah, just a bad combination. It's like, I don't know if that was supposed to be a garbage bag or some kind of weird alien bursting out of a...
Oh, I remember the episode with the plastic. The living plastic. I just saw this chair, this fun little chair eat someone. I was like, oh my God!
Man. Yeah, the Nepstein consciousness, I think that's... Because that was in the first episode of the Modern Stuff, which... They started over and called it Season 1. Even though it's not a reboot, it's just a continuation of the original series. That's where the Ninth Doctor came in and was dealing with those plastic people.
I liked him. Now, that guy's name, I can't remember his name.
Christopher Eccleston.
I've only seen him as bad guys. For those of you who don't know, haven't seen the show, he played Destro in the last G.I. Joe movie, and he was also the bad guy in the Nicolas Cage remake of Gone in 60 Seconds. So that's where I'm used to seeing that guy. I saw him as the Doctor. I thought, oh, we're in for some Tish now, Which it's. I really liked him. I was sad that because they switched doctors. But anyway, keep going. I don't.
Well, so it's like I remember being in college or close to college age, and I saw part of the TV movie. And again, it's like Doctor Who. I have no idea what the hell's going on, and I didn't know anything about the continuity. I mean, this is back, before the internet was really is what it is now. And Paul McGann was that doctor, and I watched it not kind of knowing a whole lot about the series and the history of it, and I thought it was cool for what it was, but I didn't really. I mean, at the time there wasn't a series when they did that movie. Because I mean, up until that point, I think the last thing they'd done was the Seventh Doctor back in like 1989.
Okay.
And then there was this gap of time until about 95, 96.
Right.
And then they did a TV movie, which was supposed to springboard the Eighth Doctor into a series, but just never came to fruition, which is too bad.
The movie that actually didn't even release the theaters, or
it didn't come out in theaters. It was on TV. It was on Fox.
I remember that. I remember seeing him. That was the Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy. That was
Sylvester McCoy. He got killed in the early part of the TV movie, and then he, of course, regenerated into Paul McGann.
Okay.
I
remember watching that, but I just now thought of that. I remember seeing that and being more confused than anything else, going, this isn't the Doctor who I remember. Not that it was bad, but it was, the change to me was kind of jarring.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Well, I mean, the funny thing about regeneration is the core of the Doctor stays the same. And of course, it's a good way they changed actors, but it's something that was originally established with William Hartnell.
Okay.
First Doctor, I mean, he was probably, I think it was in his 70s when he was doing that show. And, he started to get to a point where he was starting to get a little more feeble. I mean, he was getting up there in his age. He was getting sick a lot. So.
Kind of like, what was that, James Bond, that we got really old?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about.
Sean Connery, or are you talking about Roger Moore?
Roger Moore.
Yeah.
They love him in Japan. They love the old, creaky James Bond. They're like, oh, yeah, he's the best.
Well, you know what? All the James Bonds are pretty cool. I mean, everybody even they knocked George Lazenby, but I mean, the reason they even picked him to be Bond in the first place because he was a model, and they were like, so he just looked nice, and so they thought, you could put the nice-looking guy in a good suit and give him a gun and do his thing. Yeah. But, so, I mean, you could almost say that maybe James Bond's a Time Lord. Which would be an interesting kind of theory, but that's just way out there.
I want to see the regeneration process.
Yeah.
And of course, some of the ladies want to see that, too. But anyway.
But,
the Doctor.
So I remember seeing the TV movie with McGann, and again, there was nothing kind of after that, and I wasn't really compelled to go look up a lot of Who stuff. I mean, this is pre-DVD, so I didn't even mess around with it. And
yeah, because the internet's opened up so much everything.
Absolutely. Like, I would love to have watched this when I was younger, but it's just, it was on PBS, and that was it. I mean, they weren't putting in syndication on a lot of normal channels.
And can we talk about the special effects of the old show?
Oh, my God, dude. Like, for what it was, they tried, but at the same token, you got to remember too, from what I had heard, that the higher-ups at BBC were cutting budgets periodically, and so a lot of times they end up having like less and less quality special effects.
Heck, they were. I'm reading here. I've got the Wikipedia page up. They're talking about we discussed it on the radio show about missing episodes.
Yeah,
they would erase tapes to reuse them.
Right,
and subsequent episodes would be lost. That's how desperate these folks were for money. They would erase the tapes to use them again.
Yeah, that's like when I was in college, in the campus cable network. We recorded over so many programs. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff just lost.
It's gone forever.
And it's too bad because, I mean, I think there's a lot of rich storytelling that's involved in that. I mean, because even when the effects were crappy, you still had a pretty solid story most of the time.
Right.
I'll admit there were a few that were kind of iffy, but here and there. But overall, the series is, I mean, it would not have endured from 63 to today if you didn't have solid storytelling at its core.
And let me just fill this up here. It's listed in the Guinness World Records as the longest-running science fiction television show in the world. So that kind of tells you something. Rabid fans, I mean, Star Trek, Star Wars wishes it had that kind of. Well, I guess no, they don't. But anyway.
But the main thing that really pulled me into the series. Fast forward to like maybe 4 years ago, I was I had cable and the on-demand features, and they had all these different shows listed. And I saw they had Doctor Who, which I'd never had the chance to watch, and they had like the 5-part serials with David Tennant, like his last hurrah, basically.
Okay.
And so there was Next Doctor, there was Waters from Mars. What was the other one? There was one where he was in the desert with, on another planet basically, Planet of the Dead and End of Time, that big two-parter. And so I got to see his end run, and that sucked me in. Because David Tennant he's an amazing actor.
Yes.
He made a very intense Doctor. And for me, it's like, to jump in that deep into it, like, it was very emotional, and it's like, he's got such a likability about him that it was easy to kind of connect with him, going, man, this guy's really cool, and he's quick-witted and very affable, and so...
Because the personality of the Doctor is like no other. I mean, to be the Doctor, that guy, he is, when he's in the thick of things, he's insane.
Yeah.
There's a madness about him, but that is somehow focused and controlled. So that's intriguing about the Doctor. I'm like, can he, he's a good guy, but he's nuts. And how they deal with that is very interesting to me.
And I think he kind of has those overtones, too, to where there are moments where he comes off a little ambiguous, like almost villainous to an extent. And
one scene where the Daleks kind of reappeared to the David Tennant Doctor, he basically laid down an ultimatum. Basically, I'm going to kill all of you. And I'm like, what? Because I looked up Wikipedia at the time. We were reading about the Doctor, about he fights for peace and things like that. But when he gets into a fight, he can fight. But that seemed to be almost out of character. But considering the history of that character, if I came across someone who killed my entire race, I probably wouldn't be too happy and congenial about it either. So.
Yeah, and one of the other things I noticed too with that, even some of his earlier incarnations, things would get pretty dark on occasion. Like,
oh yeah,
I think the goriest the series ever really got was with the Sixth Doctor.
Okay.
And that was Colin Baker, who wasn't a very popular Doctor, unfortunately.
I have not seen anything with him.
Well,
I'm gonna have to look that stuff up.
I have something for you. I have two things.
Uh-oh.
So, you brought me a gift for my show.
Uh-oh.
I have to bring you one for yours. So, here we go. This is a DVD of the Colin Baker Doctor the Sixth. It's got two storylines, a Twin Dilemma and Attack of the Cybermen.
Oh.
So enjoy. And, of course, because we're going to talk about Torchwood, the Torchwood Archives.
You got me a book.
Jolly good.
Love this show.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, and I guess there's another season coming out.
Oh, what? Yeah, I was reading because I was asking the guy. I know because we talked about the interview I did at the HoosierCon, not HoosierCon.
CocomoCon?
I'm going to be at HoosierCon, by the way, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but CocomoCon. But yeah, I was talking to him. It was like after the the events of Miracle Day, there is going to be another series, which. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, I mean, the only lead
I'll save this for later.
The only lead in, kind of along what you were saying, was that Jack's back. That's the only. That's like the only thing that they kind of said.
Well, yeah.
And of course, I think
he fucks for peace.
Yeah. Yes, the great sexual omnivore that is Captain Jack Harkness. I do think it's kind of interesting. The Doctor sort of brings out the best in people. In so much as Captain Jack, when he was introduced in the series that was during the 9th Doctor's run, Eccleston. Captain Jack shows up, and he's kind of like a con man, He's like hanging out during, I think, World War II, during the Blitz in the UK. And
he's floating in a stealth ship watching the carnage.
Right.
How nice could this guy possibly be,
This doesn't seem very heroic. Like, no. He looks very heroic. Like, the big square-jawed, barrel-chested heroic type, but it's like he was very much just trying to get his hustle on. Yeah. And then, of course, like, with the Doctor saving his life. Yeah. Sipping a martini and trying to seduce Rose. And anyway, because of the way the Doctor treated him and was trying to help people, it inspired something in Jack. And so he decided to kind of make a difference and change his pathway. And so he became a companion at the end of it.
Right.
Well, the interesting thing about Jack is, and you can find out later on, he was a time agent. Right. So he was probably already fighting a good fight, but I think at some point
the time agency apparently broke up, which is why he's always the former time agent. And what's the guy who played Spike in Buffalo Ben?
James Marsters.
James Marsters was another time agent. That scene when
Captain John Hart, yeah.
Oh my God, that scene when they duked it out up on their re-meeting, or when we're seeing it, it's the first meeting, but them seeing each other again. Knockout, drag in. What is it? huge fist fight of then all of a sudden they're having sex. What? You know,
Like they're just making out like nobody's business. I mean,
Mhm.
or actually, I think they started making
Right.
out, and then they just start punching the piss out of each other
right.
and tearing up the bar. And by the end of it, they're sitting there drinking, and it's just like,
Uh,
I don't know about you, but that's like alpha male bonding at its finest. You know,
yeah,
you can't get much more.
which honestly, my only complaint about Torchwood is not really even a complaint. It's that they seem to be kind of pushing the sexuality or the pansexuality
Yeah,
kind of really hard at people going, this is what we do, everyone is, you know.
yeah,
And that and also, you know, and if you like to watch the first season, they keep repeating this. Once you're dead, there is nothing. It's like almost every other episode. Once you're dead, there's nothing. It's emptiness. It's oblivion. Once you're dead, it's nothing. So I didn't like that kind of being force-fed those ideas. I'm like, I get it. Okay, you said it once, you said it twice. You've now said it like 10 times, and I'm in episode 6.
nihilistic pansexuality.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but I mean,
sounds very like Russian philosophy there.
yeah, really. I mean,
You know.
Dr. Zhivago or something. I don't know, but
But other than that, it's an awesome series. So if you can get past those my little niggling complaints about it, which aren't really that bad, it is storytelling at its finest, I believe, in my personal opinion. So,
and if you want to watch, I mean, you can watch Doctor Who with your kids. Like I had a Doctor Who party.
right.
I had kids and adults there, and it was
Mhm.
for the Christmas party or
Mhm.
Christmas episode from like 2010, I guess.
Okay.
And that was just a blast. You know, I young and old hanging out, and we're all digging the show.
Mm. Well, yeah, it's the Doctor Who is for everyone.
Right. It was originally a children's program, and then it just gathered such a following, and the writing had such a sophistication to it.
Mhm.
Like everybody got on board with it.
Right. But the Sarah Jane Adventures was for kids, and that's
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
companion that got her own show, which unfortunately she died.
Yeah.
I'm very sad to hear that.
Poor Elizabeth Sladen, she succumbed to cancer. I mean, she was an amazing actress, and she brought so much to that character.
Yeah. So if you want to introduce the world of Doctor Who to your children, watch some of the earlier episodes or get the Sarah Jane Adventures. But if you want some more of an adult storyline, Torchwood. So there's something for everyone.
Right.
You know, which is most science shows don't do that. They don't have different flavors. It's Stargate, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate. Stargate's the same thing no matter what. Star Trek's the same thing no matter what. This
Kind of like CSIs, but fictional.
yeah, I'm
Science fictional.
I'm so over CSI. I really am. I got burned out. I loved it when it first came out. I'm sorry, but anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But,
I don't watch the show, but the fact there's that many spin-offs, it just, to me, it's kind of like when they're just beating a dead horse sometimes.
And I think that's one of the reasons why the guy playing Grissom left. He even said so in a interview. There's too many goddamn procedural dramas on. And they even kind of spoofed it in the show. They actually had him in the line. There's too many crime shows on television. Talking to a television camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, CSI, you're dead to me. So
You know what I think is interesting about, like, Doctor Who?
Mhm.
The character himself is not really, he's not a ultra-violent type, and he's not always trying to settle things with his fists. He's always trying to outthink
right.
the antagonist. And
How can
he's-
my Sunday screwdriver get us out of this mess?
Exactly. It's like, what does he need to do to, like, win, and he'll do it. But, I mean, he's never, you're never going to see the Doctor just beat somebody's ass.
No, no.
Which, and he's had some companions that would be willing to get down and dirty. I mean,
Right.
Fourth Doctor had Leela. You remember her? She was sort of like she had like this little tunic, sort of had this cave girl vibe, carried a knife all the time.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Oh.
Of course, this is when I was short when I was watching this
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm gonna have to revisit this stuff. I mean, and so, but yeah, I'm reading some of the books. Like one was about the Cybermen. It had one. I think it was the third Doctor, the one of the kind of the black bowl cut looked like.
Yeah,
Carl.
that was second Doctor.
Okay, second Doctor.
That was, I think, Patrick Troughton.
And apparently he had some Scotsman with him, was his companion.
Yeah, and I can't think of that guy's name.
Right.
Oh, man.
But throughout the book, they kept on when he was thinking about things, because in a book you can get more into depth about the situation.
Sure.
But the recurring theme about when they're talking about what he was thinking about was he was looking upon this thing, and fighting man that he was, recognized this was a big fucking gun. So, and there's over and over again, fighting man that he was, he recognized that, blah, 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 blah. So,
Yeah.
apparently, there's some brawlers hanging out with the Doc.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is, I think, what he needs in some situations.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, Captain Jack, when he was running around with the Doctor, he would use violence if need be, but I mean...
He was
more of a man of action, I would say.
He was more of a Han Solo type
Yeah.
of a character, if I may mix the sci-fi together there. And so, of course, Solo wasn't making out with Luke.
Yeah. I mean, I did think it was kind of funny, though, at the end of the Ninth's run, right before they were about to fight all the Daleks and hell was breaking loose.
Right.
Jack, right before he went to go rally his people, it's like, he kissed the Doctor, and he also kissed Rose. He kissed them both, like, pretty much the same way. It was like, here we go, see you in hell. I mean, and this is before, Jack had been reborn. Because, you remember at the end of that.
Right, that was confusing to me in Torchwood. Because, like I said, I started in Torchwood. Why can't Jack die? What's with the arm in a can? You know? So a lot of these things, I had no idea what was going on, but then I saw the show, and I'm like, I get it now. I should have watched this first, because I'm stupid.
And then, for people in the U.S., I mean, these shows weren't necessarily running concurrently as they were in the UK. So, if, you didn't get to catch that whole story then, I mean, now you can watch the DVD simultaneously. I know people who've done that, who heard about Torchwood and the Doctor, and so they would watch episodes that would kind of correspond.
Okay.
Because...
I remember because Jack left to go hang out with the Doctor midway through one of the Torchwoods.
No, at the end of the first season, he takes off. Because that hand, which is the Doctor's hand, he had in his case, and as soon as the Doctor was, within range, it started bubbling and reacting. And that's when he just grabbed his duffel bag, grabbed the hand, and took off.
I must go! My planet needs me!
Yeah, and he took off, and by the time he comes back, started second season of Torchwood, he didn't tell them where he went. He just shows back up, when they're in the middle of a case. And,
I know we're talking about Jack, we're talking about the Doctor, but,
sure.
It's like the Batman. He's nothing without, Robin and his cast of villains. Let's talk the people. What is the girl's name in Torchwood? The girl who's basically the other main character.
Gwen.
Gwen
Cooper.
She, as well as Jack, carries that show. She is quite, and I remember seeing an episode of The Doctor where they introduce her as a bit character.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's where they got her from. It's like the same thing in the Star Trek universe. If you look at a lot of the main characters in the later shows, and you go back in the Next Gen and stuff like that, you'll see almost everyone has played a bit part in it. So they kind of try out their actors, and then they hire from within their own little family, which I think is kind of interesting.
I heard that's kind of what happened with Colin Baker. Some of the people that have played Doctors have had bit parts in the series leading up to that.
Okay.
But I guess Colin Baker played a soldier in Gallifrey the season before he was actually made into the Doctor.
Okay. Oh, this is him now? Curly hair?
Yeah, curly guy with the psychedelic coat.
Okay. With the fuzz in between. Why does this guy have asparagus on him?
They all had weird little quirks. Yeah, that's the fifth Doctor, Peter Davison. I don't know. It was just a very strange thing that he did.
Tom had the scarf. I see this guy's got the huge bow tie. And I have not seen it. William Hartnell, the first Doctor. I need to see more of him because I don't know. And I actually have seen this umbrella out. I want to buy that the question mark handle umbrella.
Yeah, the Seventh Doctor. It was almost like he kind of reminded me of the Riddler a little bit in so much.
Yeah, I mean
the question mark motif. Yeah.
Except for the color, he's the Riddler.
If the Seventh Doctor materialized in Gotham, Batman would have just beat his ass. I think it was the Riddler.
Try.
Yeah, he would try.
So you screwed over your belt buckles.
Your Batmobile just starts sputtering and goes kaput.
That would be interesting to see if the Doctor, because they do the amalgam, the crossover of Marvel. It would be interesting to see how the Doctor would react to other universes. I mean, he's already traveling through time and space.
Right.
So,
And on occasion, he has gone to other universes and seen crazy stuff happen. I mean,
which I like that because it gives such freedom in storytelling. It's kind of like how Star Trek had ships and transporters, so very quickly from one scene to the next. Well, with the TARDIS, everywhere. is fair game. So
Exactly.
these writers have no excuse not to be giving us good content, which is what they're doing, which is awesome. You can literally go anywhere and do anything in the Doctor universe.
And I think there was even an episode recently, this past season, if not the season before, where they actually were in the TARDIS. Like most of the episode took place inside the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm. As I understand, the TARDIS is alive.
Right.
And actually manifests as a projection or a person.
Well,
and actually has a personality temporarily.
It did briefly in an episode that Neil Gaiman wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And, those of you who don't know who Neil Gaiman is, I mean, he is probably one of the most prolific writers out there today. I mean, he's written novels, he's written comics, I mean, he's done the whole gamut. Poetry, prose, you name it.
Well, what is some of the stuff that mainstream that people may recognize? I know he did Starman, right?
No, Stardust.
Star.
Stardust, that was one of his. Coraline, that was originally a book that he
I
wrote.
love that movie.
Sandman.
Sandman, that's what I was thinking of.
And then there was a couple spin-offs came from that, like Death, High Cost of Living. And,
I know people who had the girl who was deaf, the T-shirts. I saw those T-shirts everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And I remember thinking how, like, he made Morpheus, Lord of Dreams, look like Robert Smith of The Cure.
Yeah, that was kind of...
the whole wild hair motif. And I do think it's interesting that some of the writers do that. I mean, like, Gaiman did that with Morpheus, and then I remember when Alan Moore, when he created John Constantine, Hellblazer, he basically modeled him to look like Sting.
Okay.
From the Police.
Gotcha.
Well, it's so artist now, but those of you who know.
Right. Heck, what was that? Wanted. Remember Angelina Jolie with the bending of the balls?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The original comic book for that, the main character, who was played by the guy who plays Charles Xavier in X-Men First Class.
James McAvoy.
Yeah. In the comic book, his physical appearance was modeled after Eminem.
Right, and then Angelina's character looked like Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, yeah. And they actually took the villains from Batman and Superman's pantheon of villains and gave them to, so I don't know. I haven't read the comic book, but I thought the movie was sort of interesting.
It's different. I mean, they're drastically different.
Right.
Thematically, and I think the big thing with Wanted, at least as far as the film version, was they shied away from doing the costume thing.
Right.
Whereas
I don't think it would have been like Batman, the campy Batman movies before it got stupid. I think it probably would have been like that.
Well,
because
maybe
I think because we're getting way off topic here, but this is good talk.
We'll get back on track.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
The Batman movies, like the one with Jim Carrey and the one with
like Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and all those guys. Yeah.
Right. That one, I don't know where they were thinking of going with that, but that got really stupid really quick. And I think Hollywood had kind of shied away from the disaster that movie was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know how different a show that would have been if instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm. Bad idea!
We gotta hold the camera in this show. If Patrick Stewart had been Victor Freeze and done the storyline from the animated series, Batman Begins would never have happened because that would have reset the bar.
Yeah.
Because that storyline was, even for a cartoon, was beautiful.
The Bat franchise, at least, it seems like the comic book, the comic books, of course, being the source material, was solid.
Mm-hmm.
When they went to the animated forms, they put a lot of stuff into it. You had people like Paul Dini and guys like that who were Alan Burnett and Bruce Timm. They were writing and doing so much stuff. I mean, they put so much into it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you could tell that these guys had an affinity for the source material.
Right.
Loved it and just took that ball and ran with it.
Even created original content that got carried over into
Harley Quinn was not part of the original.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a comic character. She's a made-for-TV character who ended up kind of spinning off into the comics.
And Mr. Freeze, once again, going back to him, was just a bad guy with a cold gimmick. After Batman the Animated Series, Victor Freeze became this tragic kind of, almost a Magneto-like, we understand where he's coming from. He's a bad guy, but we understand where he's coming from kind of guy. So that was awesome, I thought. So
Yeah.
storytelling, characters, arc, give them to me. You know.
Yeah, if you could do that, you got a winning formula.
Mhm.
It just seems like a lot of times Hollywood doesn't want to try to use the source material that it has available.
Mhm.
Like they kind of want to bastardize things to the point where you lose something in translation.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of like when
What they're trying to, I think it's a dumbing down for what they think we can take.
and I think
You know.
they don't believe that the fan base can really support a franchise. They want to try to appeal to a more mainstream audience, which is, you know, that's fine. But the same token, you're going to lose people along the way. It's like I've been seeing the trailers for the new Spider-Man movie, and
Okay.
the costume, it doesn't, it's different.
Oh heck, the Wonder Woman show.
Yeah.
Coming out. They showed one picture of the costume, which was wrong. The Wonder Woman costume was so wrong. Just that one picture killed that show.
Yeah, and now it's like
Which,
in limbo.
And the Superman movie that's coming out, I saw the costume from that. I thought the same thing was going to happen because that costume was equally horrendous.
But I think with the whole 52 reboot that they're doing with DC, it looks a little closer to this the newer Superman.
I wasn't aware of the 52 reboot at the time, so
Yeah.
I didn't know. So, but because apparently that costume is what they're going towards.
Yeah.
But still.
I'll tell you what tripped me out though, like sort of segueing back into the Who stuff. David Yates, I guess, that directed the Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
He had said that he wanted to do a Doctor Who movie and start from scratch with like a whole new first Doctor and create a whole new continuity. And there were some people who thought it'd be a great idea, and there were others who went absolutely batshit because to go back and like restart, you basically ignore the first 11. I'm sorry, no, you ignore all the continuity that's happened before and start fresh. You would just totally kill the franchise.
From 1963.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no. There's.
I mean, while I think there'd be some interesting storytelling to have for Gallifrey, you don't necessarily need to do a reboot. I think a prequel, like you could have something where you have a young, like get an actor who looks kind of like William Hartnell but he's young, and just do like a younger Doctor maybe, and like the lead into him maybe stealing the TARDIS and going off on his first adventure.
No one's ever touched on that, have they?
Right, they haven't. That's been untouched.
The Doctor has simply been the Doctor. We don't know his name.
Start off as this old man and run forward.
So yeah, that can be some interesting stuff to touch on.
Or you know what? A lot of people wonder about the Time War. Now the Time War happened during the 8th run and led into the start of the series with featuring the 9th.
Right.
So if they really want to do something and not break continuity, I mean, because like Stephen Moffat, I guess, shot down David Yates' claim, said no, if they're gonna do a Doctor Who movie, it'd have to be the Doctor that's on TV.
Right.
But I think they could get around that by doing a Time War film and have the 8th Doctor in it. I mean, you don't have to show him. You don't necessarily have to do anything big with the 11th right now. I mean, Matt Smith's great. Matt Smith, if you're watching this, God bless you.
Good. I like him.
Keep up the good work. Stephen Moffat, keep up the good work. You guys are cool. But
ballsy for following David Tennant and keeping us interested.
Yeah.
That says something right there.
Chutzpah.
If you could, cojones on that guy for doing it and pulling it off.
And Russell T Davies is an amazing writer, so definitely a tough act to follow. But I think if they really want to really hit the fan base and still be able to keep stuff going without mucking up continuity, do a Time War movie.
Okay.
Have the 8th Doctor in it and show everything that's happened between the Time Lords and the Daleks. Show that war, and then maybe at the end of it, show him starting to regenerate. And then you can always just CGI the 9th's head onto the new body, or get a look-alike or something. But that way, people actually get to see that one regeneration that a lot of the fans have always asked about and been curious about. And then you get to see some of the casualties. You get to see Gallifrey in its splendor, because with the technology that we have now, you can make an amazing looking, like, vibrant Gallifrey.
Right.
I mean, just what they're doing in the series and the modern stuff looked amazing when they've shown flashbacks and cut away the stuff on that planet.
Oh, the stuff with the face of Bo and all that stuff.
Well, face of Bo isn't in Gallifrey, but I mean, just special effects wise. I mean, it just like back then in the 80s, 70s, 80s, all that stuff. You didn't have the budget and the effects for that now. In this day and age, you let Hollywood really cut loose, and you can make Gallifrey a really pristine, amazing place, and set up a really good tapestry for a solid story about the lead into the Time War itself, and then the aftermath. And you're not going to break up what's gone on
Right.
so far in all the stories.
But that's the joy about the universe of Doctor Who is he's a time machine.
Mm-hmm.
He can do anything. You can, as long as you don't muck about with what continuity's already been laid out,
Right.
and somehow cleverly insert kind of like what was that, Deep Space Nine. Those characters went back to Kirk's Enterprise era with the bar fight and the tribbles.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah,
man.
Avery Brooks and the girl who played Jadzia Dax.
Okay.
And Worf, who wore a scarf because the Klingons back then didn't have the brow
the
ridge.
ridged forehead, yeah.
So they went back and they actually inserted them in scenes. They actually have Avery Brooks as Captain Sisko doing a scene with Kirk from the original series.
Oh man.
Getting scolded for the bar fight. Yeah, that, and also at the end he's like handing a pad to the captain, like instead of Rand got replaced, Janice Rand, and so he's rapping with the captain.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was kind of interesting. But,
I'll have to look that up. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, but, I just think there's a lot of things that they could go into. I mean, you could do a story with. I mean, if you wanted to do something really crazy, I mean, just get something big and epic going. If you don't want to do something like I know a lot of times.
If pardon me for being obvious here, we've got a couple of stories with multiple doctors in the same show.
Right.
We have Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, and Matt Smith are still alive, as far as I know.
Yeah.
We could have the 4 doctors.
The only problem is Eccleston has said he doesn't want to wash in the same lake twice, as he put it, and he doesn't want to do. I know he said this, and it was on like some BBC interview, and if like you go on to, I found it on YouTube. If you go on, if you just type in Christopher Eccleston interview, you'll see where
we
he's.
don't need him.
Yeah, I mean, I would say get like Johnny Lee Miller or somebody, and just have them play the Ninth. Kind of like when they did the five Doctors back in like I think it was like '83.
Right. They just found one guy who looked like the guy who died.
Yeah, William Hartnell's got his soul had passed, so they got I can't remember the name of the actor that played him today.
Meanings of past and present incarnation.
Yeah.
The 3 doctors, the 5 doctors.
Yeah.
Thornton P. to return to
Richard Hundle.
Richard replaced William Hartnell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just get somebody to replace the Ninth. Get another actor. I think Johnny Lee Miller would be great because I think he's a good character actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got that sort of, he's not as rough looking as Eccleston, but you could always sort of have him be a younger version of the Ninth and still get away with it. Right. I mean, or just get a look-alike, I mean, if he doesn't want to do it, I mean, Paul McGann's down for whatever from what I've seen in interviews, but Eccleston just doesn't want to do it. Like, I guess he had that bad of an experience. He only did the 1 season, and he got this franchise up and running, and that was it.
Well, he, as a launch, as the diving board for David Tennant, man, I like Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's the only, everyone kind of speaks the proper King's English as the Doctor.
Right.
He was speaking with his northern accent.
Yeah.
And the funny part was that they actually called him on it in the show. They're like, but how come you sound like, you sound like you're from the north? He's, lots of planets have a north.
Yeah.
Which would suggest that some don't. Think about that. Anyway.
Very strange.
But chopped off. There's only west and east. And there's no south.
But yeah, I think next year is going to be the anniversary.
Really?
I think it's like the 50th anniversary.
Well, 63 was when it started. So, math is hard for me.
Yeah, it's 2013. I think it'll be like the 50th.
Wow.
50th anniversary. Do a big Doctor team up. Just get together the remaining Doctors that are alive. I mean, I did like how they did the Children in Need, and they had the 10th Doctor and the 5th meet. Peter Davison and David Tennant met up, and that was pretty cool. I mean, just for that short. But, I mean, I think in the modern era, we have the technology, and I think there's enough footage out there of the actors who played the Doctors and have passed on that you could easily get some good character actors to step in and play those parts. And just kind of do it seamlessly.
Well, what we're getting into is what the fans are demanding. Well, even with that, they're still doing great story. Do we really, we want it? Do we really need it? I don't know if that's a question I can even ask.
Well, I think of it like this. It's like, if there's a story that hasn't been told yet, tell it.
Okay.
And because in the time that you if you and I were writing Doctor Who, I'm sure we could come up with something completely different from what the BBC guys are doing right now. I mean, it's not so much as just a regional thing, but just everybody's mind works differently. Everybody has a different angle on how you can tell a good story.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there's always going to be some kind of story to be told. Just when you think there's nothing else to be done with the Doctor, there'll be something else they can come up with. I mean, he started off, it was just this little old man with his time machine and his granddaughter. And it evolved from there to where the granddaughter had been phased out and the other companions, and it was just the Doctor with a companion, and that was the formula. And that's lasted, and primarily it's been female companions.
Right.
In the modern era, though, they really took some jumps forward. I mean, you had a lead female companion like Rose who,
carried the show almost, even though with David Tennant, that's,
I mean, she started with Eccleston, too, so, I mean, so she was there for a couple of Doctors.
And the family. I mean, there was just huge scenes without the Doctor, with just them sitting around their table eating.
And then they kind of broke ground, too. It's like, okay, you had a first, like Mickey, he was the first black companion the Doctor ever had.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I mean, he'd had, like, Chameleon, which was an android the Master created. He'd had, like, all kinds of humans, and he had, like, people like Turlo, and I can't remember what species Turlo was.
Oh, and my favorite, K9.
Oh, yes, the android dog.
K9.
So,
which apparently that is under some other license now. Which is why they had to do some special jumping through of hoops to get K9 on the Sarah Jane Adventures. Because apparently they couldn't, for a while, bring K9 back.
Wow.
Because of something. I don't know.
It's interesting. But, I mean, if you look at it like this, and like I said, the modern stuff you've had, you'd had multiple companions. You had somebody actually get kicked out of the TARDIS. That was during the 9th run. They brought Adam the Genius in, and by the time they recruited him in the Dalek episode, or he joined in with them at the end, the very following episode, he kind of went rogue and did some things that the Doctor didn't appreciate, and could have conceivably altered times, and he was just like, no.
Sorry.
You're done. Bye.
Yep.
And so that hadn't really been done. You didn't really see people getting kicked out of the TARDIS. Most time it's like either they end up dying, or they got homesick and went back to their home world, or they found somewhere else cool to be. Like Perry, the sixth companion, she ended up becoming a queen on a different world because she met this barbarian guy that she...
Which, of course, there's off-camera reasons why all this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
But still, it's interesting how they write it in and make it work. So that's good
again,
writing.
Yeah, it's like where the regeneration idea came from. I mean, that was... I mean, it's a good way to sort of change the actor and still keep the series going. And I think the Doctor Who, it's solid enough that it could probably run a few more years. I mean, I don't know how many more years Matt Smith's got in him. I mean, he's still a young dude, so...
the youngest Doctor ever.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Which, I gotta say, and, he was a good Doctor, I mean, but who was the redhead? What's her name?
The actress?
Yeah, I don't care.
They played Amy Pond?
I just like looking at her.
Karen Gillan, yeah.
Oh my, the hottest companion I believe I've ever seen.
Although I think Perry was pretty hot back in the 80s. Like
some of the stuff I haven't seen.
Yeah, she was pretty hot. I mean, he's always had pretty attractive companions. There have been a couple here or there who were kind of, I don't know. Everybody's got their own taste. I'm just saying, they weren't that appealing to me, but I mean, somebody I'm sure out there whacking off to it. I mean,
Rule 34 people.
Yeah, because I had a friend of mine who's got kids, and he was telling me that, well, his girlfriend's got kids, and we had this big discussion about the whole idea of like body image and stuff, and his girlfriend's daughter started to go through the change, and he told her, he basically said, he told the girlfriend it's not the daughter, thank God, but basically that, no matter what you look like, whether you're fat, skinny, blind, crippled, crazy, there's somebody who's typing in looking for what you look like on the internet and beating off to it.
Right.
So don't think that you're unloved and like unattractive, because
someone wants to sexually objectify you somewhere.
Somebody wants you. Yeah, somebody wants to do a romance inside of you out there in the internet. All right, so here's a question for you. What do you think? Okay, like I'd love to see a Time War movie.
Okay.
Or even if they took a season to, or a few episodes to kind of show the highlights of it. What would you like to see in the Doctor Who series?
I'm as far as the Doctor Who shows go, I am a man of little wants, other than hot redhead companions, and so I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, you kind of touched on the multiple Doctor thing, which I think that's what everybody would like to see.
So it's just keep it going without compromising the story, which is all anyone can ask, really. I mean, I don't kind of jump into a weird segue. Have you ever seen a show called The Cape?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
I wanted to like that show so much.
I hear you.
But it was Batman. It was Batman with bad writing.
It was Shatman. It was not good.
It was horribly derivative characters. I mean, they even had, as the main villains, Two-Face and Killer Croc. You can't tell me anything different. Those were Two-Face and Killer Croc in thinly veiled disguises. And Batman without the heart. It was Bruce Wayne without the money, and as much of a drive. He had no pathos. The thing is that they really tried. And what was the guy's name who was the leader of the circus?
Max something like that.
Yeah, but the actor who plays him.
Keith David.
Keith David, the man with the voice.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Even Keith David could not save that series.
He's an amazing actor. And
wow.
If he's in something, I'll probably watch it. But, and that was one of the reasons I watched the show. I mean, there's sometimes certain actors they kind of jump out. He was really like the biggest name in that series.
Right.
I mean, Summer Glau was like the hacker that was the Orwell. But
right. They didn't do anything with her at all other than the fact that she was, she was like the rich side of Bruce Wayne with the mysterious.
She was Oracle.
Yeah, she was Oracle, basically.
Yeah.
There's so many things they could have done with that show that they just didn't because the writers. It's a series worth checking out. Check out. It's on Netflix now. It's called The Cape. It's a superhero drama. I think it's worth checking out, but don't go into it with too high expectations because it just kind of fell flat on several occasions. So but this is like I always say, well, I haven't said on this show, but the reason we've had good sex is because at some point in our lives we've had bad sex, which makes us appreciate the good sex even more. So
the differentiation between light and dark. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, watch that show. To kind of it's like we hold up the Star Wars prequels as what not to do in a movie to make a movie. George Lucas is retiring.
Yeah, he's done
from filmmaking.
I guess the fans have rode his ass so much for keep re-releasing some of the same movies. I mean,
right.
You can only milk a teat for so long before it goes dry.
Right, and it's not even the fact that he was going back and revisiting. It's that I refer everyone to my episode regarding George Lucas. That's what the name of the title is. Literally everything I've had to say about George Lucas, I said in that episode. But basically, he's past it. Love the guy. He brought us Star Wars. Nothing wrong with that. We'll thank him forever. However, he dropped the ball but kept trying to roll it. In my opinion. I don't know. What do you think of the prequels?
Well, this is probably going to seem like a big sin, but I'm not really into Star Wars. I remember I've seen the movie.
Which I'll say that, like everything isn't for everyone. Just because a lot of people like Star Wars, doesn't matter, that because you don't like Star Wars, you're a very strange person. It's okay. But it's okay.
Hey, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings either, but I mean, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings movies, but I mean, I remember seeing
they were
one of those old cartoons that had like The Hobbit.
The Hobbit, yeah, which they redo that as the prequel.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see that come out. The guy who played
Frodo, or
the guy who plays Frodo is not Frodo. Bilbo.
Bilbo, okay.
The guy playing Bilbo is. Did you see Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie?
Yeah, I know which actor you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he was also Dr. Watson in the newest version of the Sherlock.
The TV series.
The TV series.
Okay.
Man, what a great series.
I haven't seen that yet, but I guess
only 3 episodes. Man, if you have a chance to watch Sherlock, the newest TV version, I'm not talking about the Robert Downey Jr. movies, but there's the British television show Sherlock. It's a modern retelling of the Sherlock Holmes.
And I think Stephen Moffat's writing that too.
Okay, which would make
He's
sense.
the head writer, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome show. So.
But I mean, I've seen like the Star Wars stuff, but it just, I don't know, for what it was entertaining, but it just didn't, it wasn't one of those things that really pulled me in. Like Doctor Who pulled me in.
Yeah.
Torchwood pulled me in. I mean, like I like a lot of comic book stuff. I mean, or if we wanted to stick to like even films and TV series, like the Highlander stuff, that pulled me in.
Oh yeah.
I totally dug that, but just Star Wars just didn't do it for me. And the fact that I don't know. It was almost like there was too much material out there, like all the comics and all the novels and all the toys and all the
Because
you know.
the merchandising possibilities for that series, once they realized what was going on,
Yeah.
they just beat the fuck out of that.
I mean, it was off the chain. I mean, I don't know. There's just something about it that I always felt like I'm like, okay, this is like a space samurai western. I mean, and you know, to me, at the core of it. Oh, somebody's calling me. I can't answer that right now. No,
Well-
that's an in-depth conversation that will take much time.
Yeah.
So,
But the Star Wars, basically, you know, and you're talking about old westerns and stuff. He actually, you know, Ken Kurosawa, something like that, directors. He basically told that story the way he would, as far as like the droids, the insignificant characters, and telling a story around them. Started with the original ones. Plus, it's kind of well known, though he will not admit this. He wrote Star Wars after reading Dune. There's even a spice planet in. Thank you for telling us that, Mr. Phone. Our new guest host, Mr. Phone over there. But also,
I'd say, and there was some Flash Gordon in there too.
well, also, there's another French comic book from the mid '60s, I believe, called Valerian and Laureline. For those unfamiliar with that book or that art style, watch The Fifth Element. The people responsible for that show, for that comic, did the art direction for The Fifth Element. So that world of The Fifth Element is basically Valerian and Laureline. But it's a French story, science fiction comic book. They're on a ship. I mean, the Millennium Falcon design was basically stolen from their ship. The bar scene with all the aliens stole that pretty much. And they even, on the original Star Wars, they have discovered that the production designers for Star Wars had the complete series of Valerian and Laureline comic books on the shelf behind them as they're working. So they just basically turned around. So yeah, as cool as Star Wars is, I got to tell you, I mean, I still love the original Star Wars, but ripped off from Dune, ripped off from Valerian and Laureline. Look it up. I can even show you that I've got the scenes, the Princess Leia in the gold bikini. I can show the outfit that Laureline is wearing. It is yeah.
Well, if you're gonna steal big, man.
Exactly.
You know,
and it's
like my cousin, he always says, if you're gonna be a monkey, be a silverback gorilla. You know.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to with the new? What's new coming out with Doctor Who? I know new Torchwood's coming.
Yeah, another season of Torchwood, another season of Who. The only thing I've heard so far, well, at least some of the things I've seen online, is I think at one point there's going to be an episode where I guess River Song, well, multiple incarnations of River Song,
I love her character.
they're going to be on the TARDIS at the same time. And
That's going to be crazy.
yeah, so they've shown a little bit on it. There was
What's the name of the character? Or the actress playing her?
Alex Kingston. She plays River Song. I almost said River Dong. That's so bad. Like I don't know.
Because she's hot.
Yeah.
Once again, hot redhead. We need more. But
She definitely wants to make you hang dong. But,
ooh.
she's I don't know. I think she's a fun character, and I think you need that sort of roguish element because the Doctor can be, even though he can be sort of wild and random, he's pretty straight laced at his core.
Right.
So you sort of need that foil to have, and I think
which is why the companions exist, to kind of be other shards of a whole personality.
Well, I kind of looked at the companions being somebody that, you know, like the Doctor's seen and done it all, but the companions are there sort of like for that human angle, so they can. He's experiencing that stuff vicariously through them. It's like I think he gets a kick out of seeing the wonderment that they have and going to some random weird planet.
Yeah, because you'll see it several times. They're watching something amazing, and he's watching them watching something amazing.
Right.
Which is, hey, you know, however many years he's lived, I guess that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 900 and something odd years old, so that's, you know, that's going to happen. I mean, you're going to see a hell of a lot.
When 900 years old, you look as good. You will not. Well, actually, yes. Yes, he can look that good. David Tennant and all those other guys, yeah. So
yeah, it seems like the Doctor got progressive. He started as an old man, and he got progressively younger throughout the years, you know.
Right. I don't know if that was for story
With each
reasons.
regeneration,
Yeah. So like, what's the newest Doctor? The youngest Doctor ever
Mm-hmm.
play the part.
He's
doing a great job.
I don't think you'd want to go any younger though. I think
No.
that would be a mistake. Like you,
There's a maturity and worldliness of the Doctor that someone much younger isn't going to be able to pull off.
at least not very easily.
No.
I mean, I remember like when they first started talking about doing the new series. Well, actually, after the TV movie, and there was like this big gap where there wasn't really anything going. They did some animated movies that came out. I guess over in the UK,
Okay.
and if you look them up, it's like
Yeah, I was seeing something on Wikipedia about that.
yeah, it was. They basically referred to this incarnation of the Doctor, the Schalke Doctor,
Okay.
because there was a storyline called Scream of the Schalke, which Paul Cornell, who's actually he's writing for DC Comics now, but I mean back then he was writing some fiction for Doctor Who, and then I guess he's written for the modern series, but Cornell had written some of these series like Scream of the Schalke, and Richard E. Grant did the voice, and they didn't specify which version of the Doctor he was,
Okay.
but this Doctor in particular had like the jet black hair, sort of like this very Dracula kind of vibe, and a high collared coat, and
Okay.
the way he carried himself, he reminded me of the first Doctor as far as temperament goes, but that was originally going to be what was going to be the ninth Doctor, and they were just going to continue the Doctor Who series on animated, but it just didn't really catch on the way they thought it was, and it was considered. It's actually technically they call him the Schalke Doctor because it's outside continuity, basically.
Right. Which I've seen that a couple of times. People series being revived in animation, like the Highlander series.
Right.
The horrible train wreck that was the Highlander series movies, but they came out and look this up. Highlander Vengeance was done by the people who did Vampire Hunter D and Ninja.
Was it Ninja Scrolls?
Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great show. And it really needed. That's what the Highlander series really needed. Star Wars. The prequels were god awful, but the Clone Wars, the show on Cartoon Network, I am loving that show. I think that show is great.
Yeah, I think I've looked at some of that, and the Clone Wars was interesting, but I think the animation should be more serious. Like I could see it being a little more dramatic. It's almost like to me, it's almost too cartoony for the seriousness of the subject matter.
Well, what it came out of was the people who did Powerpuff Girls were tapped to do cartoons, Clone Wars cartoons.
Who was the other guy?
Eddie Fedorowski and
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
So those people basically, those are the models that the Clone Wars, the show, the CGI show now, was based off of. The cartoon was made by those people.
Gotcha.
Which if you have a chance to look at those are really interesting. I mean, action. There's really not a whole lot of storytelling to it because it's basically just tying the two shows. The cartoons were basically meant to tie episode 2 and episode 3 together. I mean, what did we miss? We missed the Clone Wars.
Right.
So, and this is what we're dealing with. And they decided because the cartoons were so good, they did little snippets, and they put them in the little Cartoon Network, and people liked them so much it kind of grew and grew. And now it's the whole show. And that's why it's got that kind of cartoony thing, which I thought the new Star Wars Old Republic game that's just come out, I thought that was going to be in that look. But apparently they went for a more realistic look, kind of like the Force Unleashed, things like that.
Okay.
So that's, I haven't heard anything about it because Star Wars The Old Republic is the most expensive game ever made, over $130 million to produce.
Ouch.
So, unlike most of these other games that are coming out right now, Star Trek Online, Warcraft, not free to play.
Oh,
So,
and DC Universe is free to play, too.
I'm playing that too. DC Universe Online, I'm playing that. You can play it by itself or you can load it through Steam. So definitely check those games out. But I will not be reviewing the Old Republic anytime soon because it's not free. And I'm broke.
But you know what? If the right people see this, maybe they'll send you a free copy.
Free copy.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? And I guess they're doing a Doctor Who game. You've seen?
Yeah, you sent me the link to that.
Worlds in Time.
Worlds in Time. That looked kind of interesting because you could like make your own little companion.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one that made it look like a cat person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it. So, but yeah, I'll post that link in the comments below to kind of get you guys going to kind of maybe check that out. Is it still in development or?
I think so.
Okay, so something to look forward to. I don't think there's ever been a Doctor Who game. I'm looking around on this and I'm not seeing anything.
There have been a couple that have come out here and there, but I mean,
I'm thinking it would be a huge RPG like tabletop
yeah,
game world.
I think there is one, but I've never played it. I think they've done they have a tabletop like universe, if you will. Yeah, and I think you can make a Time Lord or a companion or whatever, but I think that stuff came out like years ago.
Right.
And like I said, I haven't really messed around with any of it. And I think there was some PlayStation 2 game. I saw the cover for it,
Okay.
and it was the 10th Doctor, and it was Martha Jones was the companion on the cover. And I don't know what the whole story was or what you had to do, strategy or action, but
I have no idea. So okay, that'd be something to look up, check out maybe.
yeah, I think over the years they've done a couple of games here and there for Doctor Who, but
I don't see that. I mean, I'm going to be checking out the one that's coming out, but
yeah,
somehow it doesn't scream to me. Let's make a game of this.
yeah. I could see I think Torch would make for a really good game. I mean, you could run around as like Captain Jack or other members of the team, or maybe for the game you could make your own.
Because that was
person.
more kind of like a Law and Order CSI kind of thing with aliens.
Yeah, I mean, you run around investigating crazy stuff, and the things coming through the rift in Cardiff, or like since it's going to be, since Miracle Day, I don't know if they're going to be if they're still going to be set in the U.S. or what they're going to be doing, but there's so much storytelling that can be done.
Oh yeah. That's the beauty of that world is, like we said, we have all of time and space to deal with. I mean, we could have a whole series in some distant spiral arm of somewhere. It doesn't even have to be here, but of course it's easier to film on Earth since that's kind of where we are.
Yeah.
So who knows? I'm looking forward to more Doctor Who stuff, more Torchwood, and maybe they can even make another. Since obviously Sarah Jane Adventures isn't going to be going on anymore, maybe another kids show. Who knows?
Something, yeah.
I haven't checked out any of the Sarah Jane stuff, so I need to check that out. So
I've seen a couple, and yeah, it is for kids, and it's a shorter, quicker format. But I mean, for what it is entertaining, and it is set in that universe. And K9 is there too, so
yes.
So you've still got your ties to like the old school Doctor stuff, but it's kid accessible.
And didn't they bring that together? I mean, all three shows, Torchwood, Doctor Who, and Sarah Jane Adventures, were brought together.
Yeah, I think it was during the Stolen Earth storyline, and because everybody kind of had to team up because the Daleks had stolen Earth and several other planets and just going to cause some chain reaction to destroy them all. And I mean, just check it out, look it up. It's good stuff. I mean, and so it's fun to see like Doctor's former and current companions and everybody kind of teaming up and having to deal with this situation because it was just so epic. You couldn't really. One show could not contain this sympathy. And he actually needed the help, and it's something that I always think is kind of interesting because the Doctor's helped out so many people, and people resurface and want to help him out. It's very cool. I mean, this past season they touched on that when they had like a good man goes to war, and like he had a Centauran helping him, and a few other characters. Homo Reptilius that showed up, and a few others. Yeah.
See, that's some of my favorite episodes, like Farscape, the heist episodes, where they actually went to a lot of their own bad guys, gathered them together to break into a vault. Though I'm sure other shows have done that too.
Yeah.
I just can't think of any right now, but those are some of the best episodes where they bring back the rogues gallery to do something good.
I think anytime you do team ups, I mean they do it in comic books all the time. You put together like Spider-Man and the Hulk, or you do Superman and Batman, or whoever. I mean, or teams. The X-Men and the Avengers have to join up, or the Justice League and the Justice Society have to team up.
Right.
It's good storytelling, it's good interaction, and it really feels like a big event because it's like all of a sudden you've got this individual or individuals who can't handle a situation. Like it's too big, and so everybody has to get in the mix.
Right. Good stuff. Storytelling. Good stories, good writing, good everything. I don't know. So obviously you can tell from our very in-depth conversation that the Doctor Who universe and all the stories that go along with it are something worth checking out, at least in my opinion and your opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, we may not agree on the Star Wars thing.
But that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's so wrong. But anyway. So if you have Netflix, you have access to nearly everything of the modern Doctor Who and Torchwood, except for Miracle Day, which I'm assuming at some point Miracle Day will be on Netflix.
Yeah.
I actually had to download it and watch it separately. But
I did see something online recently. It was like a Flash animation. It was motion comics they call them, and it's Torchwood Web of Lies,
oh,
and it takes place. It fits in with Miracle Day, so
okay.
worth checking out. Torchwood Web of Lies. If you just look it up on YouTube, that's where I found it because I don't have the money to go on iTunes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're on a budget here, man.
Oh,
so
God.
definitely check that out.
Mhm. So yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to a group on Facebook, and I want to give a shout out to the people in the Last of the Time Lords forum. I enjoy verbally jousting with everybody there and sharing insights about old Doctor stuff, new Doctor stuff, Torchwood stuff. It's a very fun group, and I don't know. It's always an adventure. Like every time I go on Facebook, one of the things I always look forward to is going in that forum and just seeing what people have to say. Because there's some people who are completely new to the series and don't know a whole lot about the past storylines, so they'll ask questions. And there are people there who would gladly answer it. And there's other people who've been around and seen it all, read it all, watched it all, and said, well, what if this happened or that happened? And so it's just a nice mixed bag of people because for a while there, I didn't know anybody that was in Doctor Who aside from myself. I mean, I didn't know you that well at the time. I mean, I think I just ran into you in random circles. It was kind of funny. We'd probably known each other for years, but never actually hung out.
And now together, the super friends.
Yeah.
Wonder Turd powers activate.
So here it is. It's like, you just these past few years meeting people that are into it. I mean, because it's really started to catch on and just
The internet.
it's got a hell of a following. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I like I said, that's one of the highlights of going on to Facebook is to talk to these guys and guys and gals and just I mean, sometimes like some people say this doctor sucks, that doctor sucks. Everybody likes. There's some doctor.
Everyone
for
has
you.
their own doctor. That's the cool part about it. Is there's so wide. There's a wide the variety.
Absolutely, you got 11 dudes to choose from. If
Somebody's your doctor.
Somebody will tickle your fancy. If you're lucky, you'll get multiples that will tickle your fancy. I mean, I think they've all got merit. I mean, I know a lot of people knock like the Sixth and I'm trying to think of what others I've heard.
I haven't seen. I've only seen obviously the newer stuff and a lot of Tom Baker, and that's pretty much it. I need to actually go look to see the movie you brought. Thank you, by the way, for the awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
But I need to go and kind of rediscover or discover really the old Doctors 2 stuff that I have not seen yet.
And for me, that kind of keeps me sated in the modern era because I've seen a lot of the modern stuff, but I haven't seen all the old stuff. So while I'm waiting on this new season to come out, I can go back and watch, whatever Doctor. I mean, and
more Lost episodes are getting rediscovered all the time.
Yeah.
As I know we discussed on the show, and also we'll touch on a little bit here. Many of the old episodes have been lost. Some of them probably permanently because of recycling of tapes, misfiling of things, or simple degradation. People not keeping them, or simply the building that we're stored in got caught on fire. So, there's some stuff. I don't know. Tons of stuff out there. Discover, rediscover. I mean, this is a great world. Like I said, once I started watching Torchwood, it didn't stop. I watched all the Torchwood I could.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we got to see the source. Got into the Doctor Who. Watched all of Doctor Who. I didn't stop. I'm watching it at home, watching it at work, coming home, watching it at home until I go to bed, waking up, going to sleep to an episode. When did I fall asleep? Okay, back up. Go continue in the morning and on. So, but that's how I usually devour series and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I will back to back to back.
I went back and rewatched Children of Earth.
Really?
Torchwood Children of Earth was just
that was good.
That's probably
and literally that was a courtroom drama.
It's a 5-part series. And probably some of the most intense.
Because they were basically yelling at some guy in a box for a lot of the episode. Was it this about they were using children as drugs?
Yes. The creature in the box. The 456. Which like when I first heard something about the 456, I'm like, that sounds like a really crappy rap group.
Which brings me to my rap group. Anyway, sorry.
But it was definitely the thing that got me about Children of Earth was the fact that toward the last couple of episodes, I remember Gwen musing about why. She's like, "Where's this doctor that Jack keeps talking about?
Mhm.
He's supposed to be the guy, the go-to guy when there's a big
Right.
crisis. He comes in, he helps, and saves the day. Where is he?" And I think at one point she said she bets that the doctor looks on at Earth in shame and turns his head
Right.
because just the way they've acted and just.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you haven't seen Torchwood Children of Earth, please check it out. It's a 5-part series. It's entertaining as all get out,
Mhm.
and probably some of the most intense storytelling that Russell T Davies has done.
Yeah.
And the fact, again, you've got an epic situation that the doctor should be able to come in and sort out, but he doesn't. He's nowhere to be found. He doesn't pop up, save the day. So it's in the hands.
It's us puny Earthlings dealing
Yeah.
with this shit ourselves.
Captain Jack and the rest of the Torchwood crew have to deal
Uh-huh.
with it, and it gets really hairy.
Uh-huh.
And the thing I like a lot of times is with series like that is you don't know how it's going to end. You're like, how the hell are they going to get out of this?
Exactly.
So check it out if you get a chance. And if you'll notice, my ringtone is Doctor Who. Old school, but excuse me one second, I'll take this one. Hello? Hello? Yeah, I'm just recording. I'm on a show right now.
We're on a boat.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, I'm waving at you right now because it's going to be on the internet, so.
Welcome to the internet.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, my mom says hi, Andy.
Hi, Mom. I love you.
There. All right, bye.
All moms deserve to be loved.
Exactly.
Most of them, except Mommy Dearest. She was kind of.
Yeah, she was. No more wire coat hangers! Oh my God,
Boy.
I thought a buddy of mine had a bad one. His mom used to hit him with a wooden spoon. It's like, no,
No.
wire coat hangers
Wire
are
coat
much
hanger.
worse.
Oh, man. So, Doctor Who, good. Torchwood, good.
Yes.
Storytelling, good characters, good. Keep it going. I got nothing else.
Have you read any of the comics or?
I don't really read anymore. I just have kind of gotten away with that with just the internet,
Yeah.
everything. I used to write books, and I just have totally gotten away from printed material. I guess I'm kind of a slave to the modern intelligence era. I guess I don't know.
I did pick up a graphic novel.
I'm gonna read this though.
Oh yeah,
This I'm reading.
that's gonna be fun. Yeah.
Yes. It's got lots of pictures, so it'll be something I can get into.
Yay! But I picked up a graphic novel. It's Doctor Who, and it's called The Only Good Dalek.
Okay.
And it features the 11th, and him and Amy Pond, and they end up popping up on Skaro, and there's like this, or it wasn't Skaro, I think it was some station, it was like another Earth or something, and they're these scientists who basically had figured out how to remove aggressive tendencies from Daleks, supposedly, and
Okay.
were
Didn't
attempting to
they
control
sort
them.
of touch on it during an episode? Or I'm thinking.
In the Tom Baker stuff, there was, I think, Genesis of the Daleks, and then there was, maybe it's Victory of the Daleks.
I'm talking the new stuff. I mean, when the guy actually opened up his armor, you actually saw.
Yeah.
At the first,
Yeah, that's right. During the Ninth Doctor's
Uh-huh.
run, you got to see what a Dalek looked like.
Because they had, for some reason, he had to use human DNA to reconstitute himself.
Oh, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he extrapolated from when Rose touched his hull, because she was a time traveler, was charged with that temporal energy, and that jump-started him. But he
Right.
did extrapolate some DNA from it.
So humanity saves the day in a very weird way. So.
I always thought it was kind of interesting, the Daleks, when they show them without the armor, how they look like Krang from the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Like, I could totally see, it'd be really funny, like people always do these crazy pictures. I saw one the other day. It was Doctor Doom and Doctor Who locked in combat, which I thought was funny. And the Fantastic Four is in the background like this. Like looking on,
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking it'd be kind of interesting to have like Krang in his like armor and then standing there looking at a Dalek, and they're both kind of like facing off each other.
Mm-hmm.
That'd just be an interesting little composition, if you will, just a little random piece of art. I mean, there's so much like fan art out there.
Right.
When I was at KokomoCon, I was actually at one point when I had a table set up and I was selling some books and some artwork, and in between there I was just bored and I had a marker and I did a picture of the 11th Doctor that I gave to a girl. Said, here you go, because she came over and she had her sonic screwdriver, so
Yeah.
I thought, oh, she's cool, so
Yep.
there you go.
Mm.
But I don't know, it's always just fun to go to conventions and to meet other people that like what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Who store was there, and
Yeah.
Good
Good stuff.
I was gonna get. They ran out of like 10th Doctor Sonics.
Right.
I was not that I'm surprised. I mean,
If I had money going into that, I would have got. Yeah, the only thing I bought was like a little piece of art, and that was it. Because all I could afford was food that day.
yeah,
So.
dude, it was crazy. I had like a friend bring me some food because I was just like, I'm not leaving.
I love that picture of you with the hammer going after Paul.
Yeah, just plain Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh, good stuff.
Had my Avengers shirt on, my Thor hammer. It was good times.
I had a little single shot Nerf gun. My mighty powers, my Nerf Derringer. Oh,
Nerf Wars.
Yes, good stuff. Which I didn't even eat. I shot the camera when I was drunk on the last episode.
Yeah.
So. Many darts have been lost that way. Which I figured out you don't want to shoot the camera because it makes a really loud noise. So
Probably disruptive.
don't shoot your camera. Also, don't film while drunk because your dignity goes. They can see it.
I almost thought about bringing a bottle of Jack Daniels in the honor of Captain Jack.
Yep.
But I did come up with an idea for a shot, which I haven't tried yet, but I probably will. A shot called a Captain Jack.
Okay.
You get shot glass, part Jack Daniels, part Captain Morgan. Shoot. I don't know how good or how bad that's going to be, but I'm going to try it.
But you'll probably get fucked in the end.
Shoot, wow. How apropos then.
Oh.
They call the Captain Jack then.
Yeah.
So
Man.
I'm going to try that shot. If somebody out there tries it before I do, let me know how it is.
Well, let me know how that goes. I will spot for you. I'll make sure that you don't hit the floor, at least not too hard.
Tuck and roll.
Yep.
Got to tuck and roll, man.
So yeah. Any future projects that we should know about that we should be watching you for?
Well, the last film I was in was called Iceberg Theory, and you
love that.
He gave a review of it, and he spoke very glowingly of me. He didn't even know me that well at the time.
No. Well, I did, but I didn't know that I knew.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
It's funny. Like I think we met like 10 years ago in like a live action game or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny. Like I said, we've always kind of been. Indeed, yes. We weren't supposed to meet yet. Like our timelines hadn't crossed.
Mm-hmm.
They hadn't intersected. We had been going past, but never.
Right.
Well.
Heck, we've discussed we've been at the same party before.
Yeah.
We won't.
We're not gonna name names.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it. He don't want to get into it either.
No, not on this show.
It's just like
not on this website.
Oh, I see you. Hey man, yeah, you're here too. All right, right on. Like party on.
Good stuff.
But yeah, so Iceberg Theory is the last film project I was in, and that's it's for sale. Like if you look up online. I think it's on. I don't know if it's on Amazon or.
I have no idea.
But Iceberg Theory. It was directed by Ian Hoagland. Look it up. Buy a copy. I'm in it.
Yes. Do so. Good stuff.
It was fun. There was another movie I was in, but I'm not going to mention it because they didn't put me in the credits, even though I am in the movie.
Right.
Not that I'm bitter, but
no, not at all. It doesn't sound like it at all.
Yeah, I would tell you to go buy that movie, but like I said, I don't know.
Is it even worth mentioning at all?
You know what? I will. You know what? Hell with it. I'll admit it. I was in Metal Scars. It's a horror film, and I played a construction worker in it. And,
okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't dress like village people or nothing. I mean, I was just wearing regular clothes, so don't expect to see me in like tool belt. Yeah, no Daisy Dukes or nothing weird. I'm just it's just a pretty straightforward role.
And now my expectations have totally been crushed.
Damn, I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good.
See, that's what happened when you give out spoilers. That's why Stephen Moffat got mad when people were talking about the show and upcoming stuff before it came out because it's it ruins it for some people. I mean, some people like spoilers, some people hate spoilers. I mean, I love spoilers. I like to know what I'm getting into.
Right. Well, I found I can't be ruined. You can't tell me the end of a storyline or something like that. You can't ruin a show for me. I don't know why that is. Heck, when I watch an anime series, sometimes I will watch if I don't know the series, I'll watch the last 2 episodes first, just to see if it's worth my time.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch the rest of it and say, how did they get there? Oh, let's find out. It's kind of an interesting way of doing it, I guess. I don't know. But any other projects, things we need to be looking forward?
Well, I've still got a podcast I do every Saturday.
Which you guys have seen right here on this show.
Yeah. RadioFreeKokomo.org is the website.
Mm-hmm.
My show's called Pig's Pen. You've got me spouting off about. I talk about things like this. I talk about politics. Like the big thing right now is right to work.
Mm-hmm.
In Indiana. It's just, I don't know. Like at least for me, um, I feel like right to work. The whole idea that they are going to basically nullify unions with this legislation is not good. Because I feel like Indiana is already at a point now where um, they cater to businesses. The government here really does. I mean, Indiana is an at-will state anyway, so your employment is at will.
In this town we're in, if Chrysler and or Delphi Delco
Yeah.
were to leave, what's the town that Michael Jackson was born in?
Was it Gary?
Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana.
You know, they're talking about us turning into something like Gary, Indiana.
Or Flint, Michigan.
Yeah,
or
Flint, Michigan. It's just abandoned town.
And that's too bad because I feel like, that's part of the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we want to admit it or not, in the Midwest,
This is a factory town.
Yeah.
We're not a college town, even though we do have a college here.
Yeah, but it's just, the bread and butter is like in the factories, and that's going to affect a lot of stuff, and that's going to, like, I know they say that making Indiana right to work is going to bring in more businesses, but at the same token, you're also going to alienate a lot of businesses too, in my opinion. But what I'm saying, Indiana is an at-will state, so you can be hired and fired at will. So I could come in first day on the job, and the guy, my boss, might say, "I don't like your shoes, you're fired," and that's that,
Right.
So the fact that we don't have a lot of rights individually in the workplace to begin with, I mean, unless you can come up with some kind of like employee bill of rights or something that could accommodate and make sure that people can have the representation and the backup that they would need in the workplace, then that's kind of why unions are there. I mean, I know some people complain about the whole having to pay union dues or whatever, but when I worked at Ameritech years ago, I was in the union, and I caught flack from a manager, and I got it written up for something really stupid. And so I went and talked to my union rep. My union rep came in, we had a meeting, and lo and behold, like all of a sudden, this right was gone. So I think there's merit to it. So I mean, don't let my opinion influence you one way or the other. Do the research, look into it for yourself.
Yeah, because I can't say anything myself because I know nothing about this. This is kind of new to me, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up this stuff myself.
That, and I hear Indiana's also they're going to deregulate cosmetology licenses,
I heard about that.
which I don't understand why the hell they do that in the first place. It's like there's so many beauty schools around that
Mhm.
that if you got rid of that, I don't know, that could just mean like if you got rid of the whole cosmetology license, that means I can start cutting hair off my back porch or something for a living. I'm not a barber. I'm not a stylist. I can barely maintain all the.
I don't
And that's
want
pretty
any
short, so-
unlicensed person with scissors around my head.
I mean, what next? It's
It's
like,
just a personal thing, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
it's like getting tattoos from somebody who's never given tattoos before.
Yeah, that's just stupid. Sorry.
Not that there's people that don't do that. I mean, if you're locked up and you want to take your
Mm-hmm.
your
Get your ballpoint pen out.
yeah, your ballpoint pen and your little hair clippers and MacGyver up some little needle but I don't know. Just if you're gonna do that stuff, get done professionally. Same thing with your hair. Get somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, unless you just want to yourself. I mean, they got Flobies, but I honestly, I never trust a Flobie, man. I would sooner just shave my own head bald than try to use that. I'm like, man, get a Flobie and next thing you know, it's like,
Look, I can see brain.
there's scalp. I have a wow, it's
Your
all
skull
bad.
looks amazing.
Yeah.
So shiny, new.
Oh man.
Like it's not seen the sun ever. Well, it's bone. It's not supposed to see the sun.
Right. But yeah, those are the projects like the last couple films have been in Metal Scars, Iceberg Theory, and of course my podcast on RadioFreeKokomo.org. You can catch it 4 p.m. Through the week and then 11 p.m. Through the week as well. And on Saturdays, typically live show at 4 and then a rebroadcast at 5. So
I gotta say, I was invited on to your show. That was a blast.
it was
Doing
cool
that
having
show.
you. We'll have to do it again. And
Okay.
we basically did cross promotion where it's like I would show up on Andy's show, Andy showed up on mine. So it was a crossover. It's like Torchwood and Doctor Who.
Here we go.
We need a Sarah Jane, and then we can cross promote with her.
There
If we
go.
can find a Sarah Jane type. a female, some sort.
Some leggy redhead.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, as far as what I've got going in the future, I know I'm going to. There is a gaming convention in Indianapolis called HoosierCon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually not really my BattleTech group. The people have talked to me about that, about going there. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do kind of like what they did at KokomoCon, go and interview people.
That's cool.
Plus, I'm going to go there to play games. I'm going to go there to see new games, and it's free. So we like that on this show, as you very well know. So actually, people should go up to HoosierCon, look it up on the internet. I'll try to post links for that as well. And I've also got another show. I had said we're going to do a show that was going to be broadcast live on Justin TV, so you would actually see the filming process as it happened and kind of get a talk back and forth, kind of like what we did on your show.
Yeah.
Which I love that. That's why I want to kind of do something similar to that.
The interactivity is fun. I mean, to have Facebook up while you're doing a show and people just chime in about what you're saying or what song you play, what was that? I mean, because for my show, I try to play things you're not going to hear on regular radio because I feel like it's if I just play the same 20 songs that they're playing on the regular radio, why the hell are you listening to me? I mean, I say some interesting stuff and I will make you laugh. I'd like to think I'm pretty insightful, but damn it, you don't want to hear the same old crap because that's why I don't even listen to regular radio anymore. Like,
I haven't listened to radio in years.
I don't know what it is about this region, but there's too many country stations in my opinion.
Yeah. And if you go on, I'm talking about Netflix. If you go onto Netflix, you can see what the people around you are mostly renting. Redneck Comedy Hour shit is what I see mostly.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
When I used to work at Sam's Club.
Wake up, people.
I remember those DVDs came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, dude. People were coming in there. Y'all got the Redneck DVDs? Y'all got the Redneck DVDs? Like, yeah, there's a big display. There's
right over there. There's a big pile next to the tobacco. Go for it.
See that line of guys with the mullets just standing there? And they're waiting on their copy, too, so that's fine.
Oh, God. Yeah, but
I'm gonna get harassed by people with mullets now. Watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've already pissed off the Halo community and the Insane Clown Posse people. So yay! So
I normally just kind of give shout outs to random groups on occasion, just because I think they're cool, or I might be part of it, or I might not.
Well, this is hate mail. So
yes.
Hate mail. I don't know where the actual letters are. But so there's a bit of hatefulness going on.
Yeah, we do get a little spiteful at times.
Yes. But anyway, the Justin TV thing is going to be happening. I'm going to be doing until today. I keep telling people I discuss games, television, and movies. I've done one movie review, and until today, I hadn't talked about anything television related at all.
Wow.
Hypocrisy on this show.
Branching out, nonetheless.
Yes. So my next episode is going to be taped live, and I'm going to also put it on YouTube and Facebook like I usually do. It's going to be basically a blitz of anime. I'm just going to pull up Netflix, I'm going to pull up Hulu, and go through the whole list of what I've seen and kind of get little mini reviews on as many things as I can until I get tired or the power runs out on the universe. So that's what's going to be happening in the future for me. I really have no plans other than that. I'm going to try to keep more content. Maybe you give some ideas.
Yeah.
We might have to do this again to another topic.
Indeed.
Because I know I'm having a blast doing it.
As am I.
Also, this will be the last episode featuring this couch. I know you people have been seeing this couch on a regular basis here. Yes, I'm getting a new couch. So say farewell to the couch. It's going to be a lovely white and green kind of Florida-looking couch with matching seat and love seat, which are going to be in the house. Because I hate this. Like I've always said, I hate this couch. It's going away. So anyone wants a couch, you can have this one. So yeah, and that's it. That's all I've got.
All right.
Any more? Anything?
I'm out.
We're tapped out. We
yeah.
Actually, our brains have been emptied into the world, and now you are.
We've spewed forth the hatred and the love and everything else, creativity, juices, whatever.
So I, Dr. Hate Mail, and our very special guest, Captain Jack Darkness.
Yep, Captain Jack Darkness.
Oh boy. Well, signing off. So happy whatever shit you want to do out there. So enjoy yourself.